Alright, I just want to do a short live tonight. And quite honestly, I tried to prepare for this thing in several different ways. And it just got to the point where this is not even going to be perfect. So I was like, what makes a difference? So I'm just going to put it out there. I want to talk about the Charlie Kirk assassination. And specifically, not about the assassination itself, but about Charlie Kirk. Who Charlie Kirk was. Right. The guy was born October 14, 1993. He's 31 years old, married, 2 kids. His parents are still living. One was an architect, one was a mental health counselor. He became a political activist, dropped out of college at 18 years old to start Turning Point USA. So his passion was about getting people to critically think and to have a debate and dialogue at these colleges, so that everyone wasn't just going there to be indoctrinated into a society that was going to be ready-made for them based on what the government had decided that they wanted. And it's not even just the government, and I'm not going to get into all the details of that, but the truth of the matter is all the things that are filtered down to us don't come from a government. That's just a tool that is utilized to funnel these things down to us. And these institutions within society are used as tools to funnel down information to us, to indoctrinate us into the coming new world order, or the one world government in the society that's going to be created here in the future, which is going to be the society of the Antichrist. And I guarantee Charlie Kirk would have agreed with me on that. So what I wanted to talk about, so I don't get too far off the topic here, is that the person that did this person, Tyler Robinson, I don't even like to say his name, so I'm going to say it once. He was turned in by his father. He was radicalized in college in the same way that I'm talking about. The rest of the people that are being radicalized in college are being radicalized. They're being propagandized by people out there that their intent is not to help them. It's never been about helping them. Charlie Kirk wanted them to think for themselves. And he was saying things that they didn't like, because the very foundation of what he was talking about was his Christian faith. That was first and foremost to him. Now, there was some doctrines that I did not agree with on Charlie. There was some of his political speeches that I did not agree with. There were some of the things that I believed that he was wrong on. But in no way, shape, and or form did that lead me to believe that there was any reason for him to be murdered. And for anyone to really believe that you should be murdered for what it is that you were believing in, that's insane. That's insane. But when the society that we live in has groups within it that are literally designed to propagandize people, to delude them into believing that speech is a weapon, that it's actually violence in and of itself, just to talk to someone. And when they don't like what you're saying, that even if they don't like it in that they actually hate what it is that you're doing, they can love you as an individual and hate what you're doing. All right? And I'm not going to use the idea love the sinner, hate the sin. That's no. Okay? I don't think like that. But the truth of the matter is, these people are being taught that what is being said to them is violence in and of itself. And they're so mentally ill because they've been fed so many lies, and they keep going back to these people, they're unable to critically think. They cannot think outside of the lies that they've been told. They can only parrot them back. So they're just memorizing these catchphrases and these lines that are being taught to them, so that they can go out in society and just parrot them to their friends. And they truly live in an echo chamber. On the internet and in society, and in their families a lot of times, and especially at these colleges. That is what he was trying to break up. He was going in there, he was getting people registered to vote, he was getting them to think about the issues in society that these children, becoming adults, were going to have to deal with later on, and what kind of world they wanted to live in later on. Because these people are going to take over eventually in society, whether it be in business or whether it be in politics. Either way, even if you're just raising children, you're growing up in society, you're raising children in society, then all these things are going to affect you. Charlie cared about that. He cared about people. And even the people that he disagreed with, he allowed them to speak at his events. And if they mocked him, he jokingly mocked them back. And if he said their ideas were stupid, well, in a lot of cases, these people that were talking to him were coming at him with ideas that were stupid. But he still treated he treated them like human beings. And he allowed them to say what they wanted to say. And then his mantra for Turning Point USA, when he went out there to do these debates, it was prove me wrong. It's like, if you can convince me by logic that what I'm saying is incorrect, then I'm going to believe you. But the bottom line is, like, you go back to like people like Steven Crowder was doing something extremely similar, and louder with Crowder. And what was it that he was saying? Oh my goodness, how am I forgetting this? I can't remember what it was now. But it was extremely similar to Prove Me Wrong. So the idea that you could go out and debate with people and have a dialogue with them, it should be sacred in society. Because if it's not, then all the lies and all the propaganda is going to take over, and we're going to live in a world that's just filled with lies, and you will be unable to critically think. It will be impossible. You'll have to continue to go back to the same people that have been lying to you the entirety of the time and get new information, because you are unable to think for yourself. And if you are not able to think for yourself, we are in big trouble. We're in big trouble. Because then we've established that authority is truth rather than truth is authority. There is an objective truth in this world, and I believe Charlie 100% would agree with this. He actually espoused it regularly, that the truth is in the Scripture. The truth is of God. Now again, there were certain things that I believe that he was saying about the gospel and his faith in Jesus Christ that I don't believe he was accurate. I don't believe he was correct on. Am I going to say the guy was not saved? There were certain things that he said would lead me to believe that he was saved, and certain things that he said that would lead me to believe he may not have been saved. He could have just been screwed up a little bit on some stuff and still be saved. He certainly believed that the gospel of Jesus Christ was not by works of righteousness, which we have done, but according to his mercy, he saved us. But he had a doctrine of repentance that was different from what I believe is scripturally accurate. And I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to make this about whether or not Charlie's in heaven right now. His friends and family, they believe he's in heaven right now. And if he truly believed that Jesus Christ is the Son of God and that the death, burial, and resurrection was fully sufficient in saving him, then he's in heaven right now. That is truth. But I know that he would want us to still be having a debate and a dialogue. He would want the same things that he wanted then, now. So at 31 years old, he was a kid. I'm 46. I still feel young some days, but for the most part I feel old. But the truth is, Charlie Kirk was a kid. He was still a kid, but he was doing so much through his political activism and through his preaching of the gospel and just through his friends and his family and Turning Point USA, that it was too much for the people out there that disagreed with him to allow. So one of the people that was a part of that group, a psychopath, assuredly a sociopath, that had been indoctrinated into these cults, he went out there and he killed him. He went out there and he killed him. He killed a father of 2 toddlers. He killed a son whose parents, I'm sure, loved him. He killed a husband. He killed a husband who his wife, I'm sure, loved very, very much, from what I understand. I was actually listening to some of his friends talk on the Charlie Kirk show earlier, and it was heartbreaking, honestly. You know, when I heard that he died, I didn't cry for the man. I didn't. I felt really bad. I sympathized, and I realized that this is actually something that could be a this could be something where it pushes us through the boiling point in society. In all actuality, this kind of thing has been planned for a very long time. They want a class war, a race war within society itself, so that the people that are really in charge can take over and put us where they want us. And that is without weapons. They want us to fight each other with weapons so they can come in and take the weapons. And then now we have no means to defend ourselves. In truth, if you're a Christian, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. What does that mean? It's talking about demons that are running the world. Satan, the god of this world, has blinded the minds of them that believe not. It's already happened. If you have not yet believed, your mind is blinded by Satan. And he does not want you to believe. And Charlie Kirk was going out preaching Jesus Christ, and he did it quite thoroughly and quite often. And apparently he was pretty good at it. I didn't listen to everything that Charlie Kirk had to say, but I listened to a lot of his clips. I didn't watch his show. I saw him definitely on TikTok. But regardless of any of those things, the things that I did see of him were the things that I've talked about here already. That he wanted society, he wanted to live in a society, he wanted his kids to grow up in a society where we could talk to each other and we could disagree and we could still, even in our dialogue, just respect each other as people. I could respect your opinion, whether I agree with you or not. But that just can't be done with a group of people that is unwilling to accept there are people that don't agree with them. And if you don't agree with people like that man I'm not going to name again, that's going to get executed, I believe with 100% certainty, he's going to be given the firing squad there in Utah, and if not, he's going to get federal charges that are going to be pressed against him, and he is going to get executed. That man needs to die. He took a, as a man, when we speak as men, it's relative, because there's none good but one, and that is God. He took a good man out of society, a good father, a good husband, a good friend, a good son. He took that. He took that person. He took that person away from all those people that loved and needed him. And that includes the people that he was going out in there and talking to at those colleges. They needed him. And he went out and he got millions of people registered to vote. Now, again, we're not supposed to involve ourselves in the affairs of this world as Christians, but I believe he was definitely doing a good thing, and the people that he was reaching, that there was a lot of response to that. There was a lot of enthusiasm. Charlie was a charismatic guy. He was a jovial guy. 10 minutes before he was executed summarily, without charges, he was throwing hats out to people. He was smiling. He was talking to people. And he was doing the same thing that he always does. Listening to the people that were talking to him, and he was answering them the questions that they had for him. And it's just a sad, sad thing in society when we can't actually have a dialogue with someone else and not have them want to shoot us for it. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there right now that are extremely upset about this. They want to go out and commit violence. Violence for violence, an eye for an eye. But that's not what he would have wanted. That's not what God wants for us. The wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. We've got to sit back, and I know, I've actually heard several political commentators and conservative political activists saying things like, they don't want you to go out and commit violence, truth, but be prepared that if they're going to come for you, that you are able and willing to defend yourself to the death. Because you have to be willing to commit to that yourself. And Charlie knew that. He had death threats throughout the entirety of Turning Point USA's time, since he was the founder of it. And he knew that he was under threat, and that there was a really good chance that at some point someone was going to attack him. But they didn't see this sniper coming. They should have had a rover out. In my personal opinion, they should have had at least one, if not multiple rovers out, walking the campus, ensuring that the place was secured from people being able to climb up on rooftops and shoot you from a distance. Because clearly, up front, there's a chance that the people around him are going to be able to stop him from shooting, or that it's going to be in the heat of the moment and he's going to miss, or he could actually get stopped by someone that sees him getting ready to do what he was going to do. But when you're sitting up on a rooftop 150, 200 yards away and you're stabilized, you don't have to be a very good shooter. And there will be people that disagree with this, but I've been shooting rifles since I was about 10, 12 years old. And you do not have to be a good shooter with a scope at that distance to hit something. And I don't believe that guy was actually aiming at what he hit. Now, Charlie Kirk's just a really big guy. So where he hit him, it was probably by accident. It was not by intent. That man was probably aiming, and I don't even want to call him a man. He's a piece of garbage. You know, I would like to say some stuff about what I would like to see done to him, but I don't want to do that on here. But I'm sure you can imagine what it is I would like to see done to that man or person, piece of trash thing, because he murdered an innocent man. Now, none of us are innocent that we sin, but Charlie was not out there hurting anybody. He was just espousing his own views, and he was explaining to people what he believed and why he believed it, and he was asking them to come and have a dialogue with him. And that was enough to get him killed. So remember that we live in a society today, right now, that if you have conservative views, that people are willing to come and kill you. And if someone wants to bring up this Minnesota representative that was a Democrat that was killed, okay. But we're talking about one versus probably hundreds on the other side. And clearly, the vast majority of Republican conservatives are saying the same thing that I'm saying right now. Don't go out and commit violence. We need to solve this between ourselves, because if there's actually a civil war like the helter-skelter the CIA was trying to perpetrate back in the day, then they're going to come and they're going to take our guns away, and they're going to say it's for our own safety, it's for our own good. And then when the people that really hate us, not like we hate each other, I'm talking about the people that are, and again, there are some in society that are psychopaths like that as well, like the one that, you know, executed Charlie there. But there are very large, concentrated groups that hate us because they call us useless eaters. All right? We're the proletariat, the plebeians. All right? They're the masters. They believe by genetics, by birth, that they deserve to rule and reign over us. And they're the ones that are going to come and kill us. And they're going to starve us to death. They're going to take our jobs. They're already trying to do it by proxy. But it's going to be much more direct in the near future. And it is perpetrated by the fallen angels that are above them, like the princes that it talked about in the Bible. The princes that it talked about in the Bible that were not men, that the rulers that are by Satan. These are the ones that are dwelt by demons that are trying to come and kill us. If they could take our guns, and we're the last country on the planet that has this kind of freedom with the Second Amendment. If they can get those guns, we're it. We're the last domino for the one world government. If that can happen, we're the last domino. And if we can't have a dialogue, if we can't discuss things between ourselves without just going out and shooting each other, well then we're in really big trouble. And I say that for Charlie's family, you know, my heart goes out to you, and everybody should be praying for them right now. They should be praying for this country, and they should be praying that God comes back into this country in a way that he has not been here in quite a long time. And it's not because of him, it's because of us. It's because of us. And that is the same thing he believed. And I believe he would agree with 99.9% of everything I said, if not 100%. You know, I say, you know, God bless his family, and I have prayers for all of them, and his friends as well. I said I sympathized with them when I first started hearing about this, but after listening to them talk on a show today, I empathize. You know, I shed a few tears for that guy. You know, they took a good person, you know, relatively good, again, out of society today. Now, and there's nothing we can do about that. He's gone, and that's it. And the impact that he was having, it can't stop with him. And he would say the same thing. It can't stop with him. We need to go out and we need to get together with each other and discuss this as to why it affects us in totality and what we can do about it. Because that's what he would have done, and I think that this is, you know, this would be a good memoriam from him. You know, to say that, you know, he wanted to be remembered for his faith, first and foremost. But the impact that he had through Turning Point USA is a lasting impact on all of those college students that he's already been out there having a dialogue and a debate with, and all the people out there that were impacted. And if you look at the MAGA movement, and again, I don't agree with everything Trump does, for sure. There's definitely some things that he does that I do not agree with. But he was instrumental in getting Trump reelected here in this last election. And that kind of impact, it can't be stood for by the left. And I'm talking about the woke left, the crazy psycho sociopath left that ended up murdering that man, because that's what happened. They murdered him without charges. He did not deserve that. His family didn't deserve that. His friends didn't deserve that. You know, we as a society have to take some kind of responsibility for that and to do something about it. Whether it's just at home with our families or our friends or getting on Facebook and going live like I'm doing right now, but we got to do something, because this is going down quick. And there are so many people out there that are celebrating this. It's ridiculous. I even wrote down, a DC comic book writer fired from his job because, I believe it was a he, anyway, fired from his job for celebrating Charlie Kirk's execution. Louisiana firefighter, it was a woman, would put on there that he needed to keep that bullet in his body because it was a gift from God. We're like, these people are insane. Who could say this stuff? And be honest with themselves and say they're a human being that has sympathy and empathy for people. How can you do that? How can you do that? CNN getting on there and these ridiculous leftist apologists saying that it could have been because at first nobody knew what had happened, so they come out with this crazy thing like it could have been one of his own supporters that was celebrating this the debate that he was having there at that Utah University. They were like, and they accidentally shot him. They were like, who does this? Was this like the 1770s or 1780s? We're all getting drunk in a field shooting guns into the air. That's ridiculous. That didn't happen. It wouldn't happen. Why would someone even say that? It's illogical and it's just completely insane. And then you got, this South Carolina teacher, he's fired. They're saying America is a greater place without Charlie Kirk. Well, why is that? Why do you think that this place is greater without him? What is so much greater about society now that they've taken about this good father? You know what? We need individuals in this country to raise their children right, so that we have this next generation that's coming up that's going to be taken over is going to be capable and prepared to do it. If all they have in their head is parroted illogical fallacies and just diluted content that they've gotten off the internet or within their echo chamber groups that they have, these online people that get into these groups, and I've been online too, and I've been on Discord, and I've played video games, but I'm not an incel. You know, I don't claim to be a victim of anything. If there's something wrong in my life, it's because I did it. I made a bad decision somewhere. That is accountability. I can say it's my fault. If something happened, then it's me. It's me. I'm the only thing I can change. I can explain things to other people, and I can help them to understand so that they can change themselves. But I can't change anybody as an individual. I can only change myself. So if I don't take accountability for the things that I have happen in my life, then who will? And we have to say that not just about ourselves. Everybody needs to say this exact same thing. Okay? We could all claim to be victims of X, Y, or Z and make excuses as to why the things in our lives aren't the way that we think they should be. But you know what? We're not entitled to anything. Even as Christians, God has only promised us food, clothing, and a house. Shelter. That's it. That's all we're promised of God. What are you entitled to? And what does a man have that was not given to him to begin with? Nothing. Everything that we have in society was given to us of God. He's allowed it to happen, but God allowed Charlie Kirk today. God allowed Charlie Kirk to have happen to him what we had happen to him here. Excuse me. Let me back up for a second. Okay, God allowed what happened to Charlie Kirk to happen. Now, I'm not saying that he intended that to happen. I don't believe that in any way, shape, or form. But he allowed it to happen. And maybe it's because we need to wake up, a real woke, to understand that all of this stuff in society is actually right under the surface. It's just that we had this layer peeled back because of this event that happened. And now we can actually see, the mask is off, what these people are really like and what they really want. They want us dead. They want us dead because we don't agree with them. Well, I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, I'm not going to provoke anybody. But I am not afraid of anything or anyone. The only thing I'm afraid of is God. That's it. Nobody else. No person. What can you do to me? If God can give me anything, what can you take from me? Having nothing, yet possessing all things. I can be completely broke and destitute. There's nothing you can take from me that God can't give me back. And that's the same for every single Christian out there. Everyone. Okay? We should not be afraid. But we should be aware. Certainly. Watch. Because if you're going to go out and you're going to say things that people don't like, you can expect that there are going to be people out there that are willing to do what they did to Charlie Kirk. Period. I'm not afraid of it, and no one else should be afraid of it either. They should never be afraid to be able to speak their mind. Now, if you're going out and calling for violence, well, you better be afraid. And I'm not saying you should just be afraid of man. If you're going out and calling for violence unjustly, I can assure you there's someone else that is much, much higher than me that's not going to like that. And I guarantee you he does not like what happened to Charlie Kirk. And my heart goes out to his friends and his family. And I'm going to go ahead and end this. My voice is getting hoarse. So you guys all have a God bless day and good night.